aka TJ Miller. Just another day in the country, y'all. Look at that. Beautiful outside. Just collecting my thoughts. Listening to the cars go by. I like peaceful moments. I like to be left alone in solitude just to gather my thoughts. Today's Sunday, and it's got me thinking on this topic I was dreaming about last night. When we lose loved ones, when it's time to put somebody to rest, you know what I'm saying? When it's time to send somebody's spirit to be with the Lord. I've been thinking, and I really remember and recall that I really knew that death was real when I was 7 years old. Let's go back to 1997, Spruce Pine, North Carolina. It's my great grandmother's 99th birthday. Hell of a milestone, man. What a blessing to be along and live that damn long. She lived through the civil rights era. She lived through the dogs, through the water hoses, through the Jim Crow movement. She's been through it all, man. If anything, our elders deserve nothing but the utmost respect. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes they get on our nerves and all that, but they know what's best for us, man. And the older I get, the more I realize they're just trying to help us, y'all. A lot of times they'll tell us something you don't want to hear, but they really have your best interest in mind. But yeah, 1997, I was 7 years old in Spruce Pine, North Carolina. We was at a birthday party for my dad's grandmother, which would make it my great-grandmother. It was her 99th birthday party. My great-grandmother, her name, we called her Mama Julie. We didn't call her Granny or Nanny. We simply called her Mama Julie. She lived about a half a mile from where the party was for her birthday. My grandmother was a woman of few words. She didn't really speak often. She was the type of woman that'd walk up to you, maybe slide you a piece of double mint gum or a $5 bill, and whisper, "Don't tell nobody. Don't tell your parents." That was her way of saying, "I love you." This particular day, I don't know what day it was exactly, but I know the birthday party was ending. And my great grandmother, Mama Julie, she usually just says goodbye and kind of, fades off in the distance. Half the time, you didn't even know she left. But for some reason this day, I noticed that she was walking around and giving every grandchild their own hug. Every grandchild got a hug. Every niece or nephew got a hug. Sons, daughter-in-laws, all that. We all got our own special hug that day. And as my grandmother walked out of the house at the ending of her birthday party, she was holding this big glass fruit bowl in her hands. I remember like it was yesterday, y'all. I was standing on the carport, maybe 5 feet from the door that she was walking out of. And as she was walking out of the door, she took a deep breath. Fruit bowl broke. She was dead before she even hit the ground. She just had a massive heart attack in front of my eyes at 7 years old. Innocent eyes that have never seen drugs, never seen sex, never seen death, never seen violence. My innocent 7-year-old eyes had to watch my grandmother's body literally fall in slow motion. And my dad ran and jumped out with his arms and caught her before she cracked her head on the cement. And I watched as my dad, at 7 years old, gave my great-grandmother CPR over and over, relentlessly trying to save her life until the EMS eventually arrived. I remember that day, me and all my first cousins, we sat in the yard just watching the CPR, watching them try to resuscitate her. And we laid there in the grass, locking arms and just cried because we all knew one thing. She was gone. I was 7 years old, and I realized that day, right after the ambulance left and my mom came and got me and took me to the side and explained to me what just happened, that Mama Julie had just gone to see Jesus. She explained to me while the paramedic was doing CPR on my grandma that her soul was slowly rising above the ground. She told me to wave, that she's going to be with Jesus. They took her false teeth out to do CPR mouth to mouth on her, And as a nosy kid, I remember looking at her teeth that was sitting on the counter and thinking, damn, her whole teeth just came out. And what I noticed was I smelled cinnamon. She's an old school woman, 99 years old, back in 97. So she dipped snuff. So while her teeth were sitting there, I seen snuff stuck to the bottom of her false teeth where they didn't have time to pull it out. They just snatched it all out and tried to save her life. She passed away that day. R.I.P. Mama Julie. For a 7-year-old man, that was hard to understand what it means to lay your loved ones to rest. Her funeral was hard for me. I had to go through counseling at Marion Elementary School. Me and my cousin, Andre Conley, we wrote about her, talked about her, and I realized then that life is not promised. I miss her, and I was taught a very valuable lesson that day, that just because you're here does not mean you're going to be here tomorrow. The good Lord up above, he promised us a lot of things, but he did not promise us tomorrow we'll be here. That's the end of my first story. Okay. Now this next story is about my dad's little brother, Uncle John. And the night that he passed away unexpectedly and suddenly, it changed me again. But this time I was like 25, 26. My dad's younger brother never comes around. Once in a blue moon, he's a sheriff. At this time, we didn't know that he had a heart defect, and he didn't know. He was 43 years old. We found this out after the autopsy. But yeah, he had been complaining about chest trouble for a while. And he ignored it because we're scared of that. You know, most people have a tooth pain or a heart attack or something like that. You immediately ignore it because you know once you go to the hospital, they're going to find something else. So he ignored it, which comes to my next point. Don't ignore chest pains. But yeah, he popped up at my house and said hey to me and my dad for the first time in a couple of years. He sat and chopped it for a minute. Sooner or later, he left, and he might have left at like 8 p.m. About 3 o'clock in the morning that night, I get woken up to my dad screaming, "Oh no! Phyllis, wake up! John's dead!" I'll never forget that. I remember waking up and thinking, holy shit, that man was just in my living room. That man was alive literally 3 hours ago, and now he's dead? What? My dad, in my whole 32 years of life, I might have seen my dad cry 2 times. This night was one of them. My dad boo-hooed. He was trembling and shaking. It was so bad. It was everything we all could do as a family to hold this man together. So we all immediately jumped up. It was snowing outside. And we went straight to Spruce Pine, North Carolina to be at my grandmother, the mother of my uncle. All my dad could think was, I have to be with my mom right now. My brother just died. I'm shocked. So I can imagine how my mama feels. So we all packed up and went straight to Spruce Pine in the middle of the night. My dad drives a tractor trailer, and he was scheduled to leave the next morning. So we had to go to the truck stop first. And he had to lock his truck up, make sure his trailer hadn't been tampered with or nothing. And he was so out of it in this moment that he locked his keys in his truck, just not thinking, just so much is going on. We eventually make it to my grandmother's house, and it was sad. All the grandkids are up there, but it was not a good time. Literally everybody was crying out loud. It was horrible. And I remember thinking, once again, I'm being exposed to death. And it sucks. That's one thing that life is guaranteed, that death will come. So as we sat up at my grandma's house consoling each other, making funeral arrangements, we just sat there thinking and reminiscing on how this man was literally alive 20 minutes ago or 2 hours ago, and now he's dead. What had happened was he had woke up with chest pains. He went to his bathroom where most people have their medicine and all that stuff behind their mirror. He reached out to get his medicine and blacked out, fell straight down and cracked his head on the sink in the bathroom, and it killed him. Dead at 43. I remember at his funeral, now that I'm not 7, like my mama Julie, when she died, I'm grown now. And I remember being at his funeral just thinking, life sucks. I hate this. And as a Pisces, I feel all the emotions around me. I was so young when my mama Julie died. At her funeral, all I could think was, don't cry, be a man. But at this funeral, I cried. Emotions are real. There's no pride in not crying at a funeral. That's stupid. We laid my Uncle John to rest that day, and I remember thinking, life is so short, I got to get it together, man. R.I.P. Uncle John. When we bury loved ones, man, it sucks and it hurts. Like I said before, life is not promised. If you're screwing up in your life, if you're living life wrong and you know it, and you'll know it, you better get it right today, buddy. What if my Uncle John, that passed away suddenly, told himself, I'm going to get my life together next week, next month, I got next year. He's gone now. That man is dead. And what really confused me for a long time is how people that literally are out here working and doing the right things, they just die. But you have a crackhead out by 7-Eleven smoking dope out of a Dr. Pepper can, he'll live to be 100. I guess it goes back to what the good Lord said in the Bible, your ways are not my ways, my thoughts are not your thoughts. The way that I translate that is, you'll never know why I took somebody home. You'll never know why I called somebody to be with me. So the more you try to rationalize it in your head and try to figure out why this and that happened, the more you'll be confused. Just know that God brought them for a reason. And if that person is no longer in pain, they're up above rejoicing every day with Jesus, man. I don't know why I thought about these things and decided to make a video on it, but I love YouTube, man. It's such an outlet. Instead of just sitting and talking to myself, driving myself crazy, looking dumb, because they lock people up for talking to yourself. Remember that now. I just come outside and talk to you guys because I know somebody out there is going to feel what I'm saying. I don't care if it's one view. Somebody's going to understand what I'm trying to say. But yeah, man, when we bury loved ones, I hate to bring this up, but 2 weeks ago, my little sister, she had a stillborn child, little Zoey Marie, Irizarry. R.I.P., sweetie. She had like a 1 in 25,000 condition that made her be born stillborn. My little sister did everything right. She went to early college. She graduated high school at 18 years old with an associate's degree. She went to ECU, got a degree, graduated there at 21 with a 4-year degree, joined the Navy, retired from, got out the Navy, did everything right. Got married and got pregnant, everything in the right order. Made my parents proud. Just for her baby to come out like that. Some things I don't get. I'll never understand. And it hurts me when she texts me and tells me how she feels when, as a big brother, you don't have the answers. What do you tell somebody that just had to bury a child that wasn't even a full 9 months when they were born? What do you tell somebody? It's going to be okay, have another? You guys can see how my mind has just been going and going and going. I think about that little girl every single day. She should be here right now. So you guys out there that's going through something right now, just know that somebody out there is going through 10 times worse than what you are. It all depends how you handle it. Just know that somebody out there is going through 10 times worse than what you are. They're not complaining. They're bearing and grinning it. Somebody beside you at work today, they might be a hair away from breaking down. So don't you dare feel sorry for yourself, because somebody somewhere is praying to be in your shoes. Keep that in mind next time you start complaining. And always remember, the ones that we bury, the ones that we have lost, they're not dead. They're partying with Jesus. And we will see each other another day. Till we meet again, RIP to anyone out there that's lost somebody that you love. You're in my heart and prayers. And until next time, guys, Mr. Mally Bray, aka TJ Miller, signing out.